Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60 on a lovely sunny winter's morning here. Now this video is going to be on my DCT swapped N54 for a change. Hopefully you've seen the video, but we did actually head down to a Cars and Coffee event down in Brisbane yesterday. That was just over 100 kilometers from where we are. So it was a good test for the DCT, get some miles up on it. However, that 100 kilometer trip has brought to light some issues, not with the DCT, but with the engine. So if you haven't been following along, to get the DCT swap done, I had to upgrade the DME to an MSD81. And I think I might be having some issues with the way I've done the upgrade. I'm not sure. Basically, well, actually, long story short, when we got to Brisbane yesterday, long story short, when we did the first test drives on this, the JB4 actually kicked into lean safety mode. Now, I put it down to not clearing adaptations, and maybe the DME was still using adaptations from when it was living in its previous car. So I cleared adaptations, and the car seemed to be all right. Now, I obviously I think I did about 70 kilometers playing with the DCT, doing some testing and getting XHP on it, but that was all we'd done. And I ended up driving it to Brisbane yesterday and doing a pull onto an on-ramp on the highway. It actually went into lean safety again on the JB4. Now, I wasn't really sure what it was. Figured I would have a look at codes when we got to the event. I checked codes down there on MHD, and there were a ton of codes. Well, actually, there were codes for the DCT, but I think that was because it had been flashed with XHP. And when you flash with XHP, it does seem to throw a load of codes in the DME, or in the car, which get reported when you scan them. And then I had a couple of O2 sensor codes, one being swapped O2 sensors. Did a load of research, and it looked like I may have swapped the rear O2 sensors. Now, I only had one of the rear O2 sensors out, but obviously I had unplugged both of the O2 sensors to get the gearbox down. So I double-checked that, and they weren't swapped. But I could not clear the code. There were two codes coming up, which will be on the screen at the moment. But yeah, anyway, long story short, changed an O2 sensor, and it would let me clear the code. So I just put a second-hand O2 sensor into the rear O2 sensor spot that was throwing the code, and that cleared. Went on another drive, did about another 70 to 100 Ks, and my AFRs are being weird again. Basically, trims are maxing out at the wrong time, and when it sits there at idle, bank 1 is about 15 on the AFR, where bank 2 is sitting at 13.5 on average, and I'll put some notes up here. So I'm wondering if I've had some issues with the injector flow rates. Now, we did update the injector flow rates when we did the MSD81 swap. However, I'm wondering if when I flashed a ZUB, did it wipe injector flow rates? So that's what we're going to check first off, and we'll see if we can work out what this bloody issue is. The annoying thing is, it takes that 70 to 100 Ks of driving to work out if it's playing up again after you reset adaptations. So anyway, let's get these arms out the way and get ISTA connected and see if we can read those injector values. Okay, so we're just in ISTA. I'm going to go through and just see if we can bring up the injector values. Fuel injector rate adjustment, display. Yes. Oh, hang on. Don't need to see that. We wanted this one. Display. No. Continue. Okay, I'm just going to go and check those values are what they should be. Okay, so I went through and just double checked, and it had the wrong values in there. Now, these are now the updated values. In fact, I'm just going to double check. I'm going to double check we've got these all right. Okay, I have double checked. They're definitely the right values for my current injectors that are in this. But what is confusing me, we did this before, and I did it on camera. Save adjustment values. Continue. Do you wish to store the following adjustment? Yes. So either I did the process incorrect last time, or when I flash the updated ZUB or ZUB, whatever it is, the firmware for the DCT on the DME, it's wiped those values, but that seems really strange. Anyway, it's just told me to switch off the car, which is obviously how it saves the values. The following values are saved permanently. Okay, it does say that sometimes the values may change slightly. And switch on terminal 15, which is basically power the car on. And I'm going to go and actually check these values. I'm going to read them again and make sure the updated ones are there, so we can remember 572203. All right, so I keep turning it off. I've got the values stored on the phone I'm recording with. The 572203 is the wrong injector number. 572203 is the wrong number. Okay, for some reason, it's saving the wrong injector values. Need to work this out. Okay, so doing a bit of reading, and somebody suggested that I need to delete all the adaptation values stored in the DME through ISTA-D. Now, I've been doing adaptation deletes through MHD, but ISTA-D even has adaptations for engine control unit renewed, if you change the engine, if you increment wheel renewed, I don't know what that is, dual mass flywheel or crankshaft sensor renewed. So obviously there's a lot of stuff that's learned in the DME. Anyway, we should be able to go continue. Service function finished. Now I should just add to that, it looks like when you save the injector values in ISTA, the last few digits of each of the 3 numbers that make up the 6 numbers on the injector codes do change. Nobody knows why, but it turns out they do, and maybe that's why my numbers that were saved were different. And the numbers that I entered just now, when you go back and check the injector coding, they're the same as what was stored on the DME since doing the MSD81 update. So programming that ZUB doesn't change the injector values. It's just ISTA-D doesn't save the values that I enter. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, we've reset adaptations. Might see if the car starts. All right, now it's going to be a matter of just playing with it and seeing how it runs and if the AFRs go out of whack again. So just on cold start, both AFRs are locked on 4.6. I'd say that's brilliant. Trims aren't doing anything. We'll let it get some heat into it and I'll give you guys an update in a little while. All right, so I'm not sure how I've been keeping up with what I've been filming, but I've reset all those adaptations. Now, there is a bit of a process you're supposed to go through with driving behavior to properly learn back these adaptations. The main ones I'm concerned about is like octane and fueling related stuff, which involves a fair bit of idling. So I've been letting it idle. Now I'm going to go and take it for a drive. We have 394 Ks on the trip meter. AFRs are close enough as makes no difference moving together, so that's good. You'll see me in about half an hour or 45 minutes time, and we'll see if they stay doing what they're supposed to be doing. Also, just randomly, who wants to take bets on whether that's mist or blown turbo smoke? I hope it's mist. It's probably mist, right? That's a lot of exhaust smoke though. So I've just gotten back. I've only done about 40 kilometers, and the AFRs are already out of whack. In fact, they were out of whack a little while before. I have got a clip of it. So something is causing AFR2 to be more rich than AFR1. Done a lot of adaptation resets, recoded injectors. For some reason, bank 1 and bank 2 are out of sync. Now, I did log a little bit of running on the highway, which I'll put a link to that log down below. Let me know what you guys think. I have messaged JSR about this. I actually messaged him when I realized we had a faulty O2 sensor yesterday. And we'll see how we go. Now, I did try and load it up mid-throttle then. The JB4 didn't actually go into a lean condition, but that might be because we didn't get enough driving on it to actually cause it to go into a lean condition. It took about, I'd say it took about 25 to 30 kilometers for the AFRs to go out of sync. And I was trying to watch it as we went down the highway. On the flip side as well, that was also the most constant type of driving I've done. Yesterday when I was testing it, I was doing a bit of running around and doing other stuff as well, so I couldn't just sit at one speed, where when you do these adaptation relearn processes, the car or the DME needs everything to be like on a constant load, which I managed to get this onto constant load within a kilometer of driving. So, look, I'm a bit at a loss at this point in time. Might do some more delving and there might be an update. You'll see me shortly. Well, we've now done 102 kilometers since the ISTA adaptation reset. And I ended up, I've probably messed it up anyway, but halfway through that, I ended up doing an MHD Lambda. No, I did an MHD octane reset. I'm gonna turn the car off. Although, before I turn it off, you can see we're back to idling at 13.5 to 7 and 14.9 to 15 there. Yeah, I ended up doing a octane reset with MHD, and that does not affect the AFRs at all. Oh, I suppose it doesn't. But when you reset lambda regulation with MHD, that's when the AFRs go back to doing what they should do, and then it takes that 30 to 50 kilometers of consistent driving to sort it out. After I did the second lambda reset, I ended up letting it idle for 5 minutes, which is part of the readaptation learning process that's listed in ISTA. And letting it idle for 5 minutes, I think, helped it. And it did that 5 minute idles, and the AFRs were like both mid-14s. But then you start driving it, you sit on the highway for half an hour, or 20 minutes even, and then they start adapting to where they are, where AFR 1 is leaner than AFR 2. So, I mean, it's not a huge difference. The car still feels pretty quick, but it's not right, and it makes me wonder what it's going to do with issues when we start winding it up. I'm thinking, and I'd love to get some input on this, it's an O2 sensor. Now, these O2 sensors are not 1 year old yet. The rear one that I replaced yesterday, I think that has failed because I've had it out, and I had it out when I did the gearbox, and maybe I've broken a wire or something. I mean, I've moved it. I understand why that may have caused some issues, but the other three that are in the car have not been removed. They haven't been touched. And this is only an issue since we've gone to the MSD81, which complicates the whole diagnosis thing. But I'm thinking maybe the AFRs are just, maybe one of the O2 sensors is off. Maybe it's the other rear one. I don't know. It's just annoying buying another whole set of O2 sensors every 12 months. Surely you shouldn't have to do that. Anyway, see how we go. Bit of a open video that maybe somebody here might be able to help with. Anyway, I will say this, thank you everyone for your comments when you put them in below. Do appreciate it. But I have 4 days to get this sorted to go to roll racing. I'm not going to run out of roll racing if it's doing weird AFR things, and a power log just looks terrible at the moment, like it's pulling timing like a mother effer, which it wasn't doing before, so something's wrong somewhere. Anyway, catch you on the next one. Peace.